The next level of manifestation of our human form is the spirit. The spirit is the energy force. If you were to close your eyes for a moment, close your eyes for a second, and take a breath and just feel your physical body. Just feel your body sitting in this chair right now. Feel how you're holding your body. And then drop down one layer beneath feeling your physical body and see if you can feel that little buzz, that little buzz of energy that is your life force. It's the presence of you in the physical body because you're not your physical body. You're the consciousness, the spirit that animates the form. So when we talk about spirit as a manifestation of light, it's the most refined aspect. You could say it's the highest frequency of light that manifests, that brings life into this form. Because when the spirit leaves the body begins to disintegrate and it returns back into the earth again, right? So we're just really a recycling project. So those are, in a real basic sense, those are the four of the basic tenets of what comprises our human. The physical body, the emotions, the mind, and the spirit. The Toltecs also held an awareness that our relationship with what we call reality is really an interpretation. It's an interpretation that's based in being a witness to how light reflects off of other forms of light, and we're really a living interpretive consciousness that moves through the world and interacts and has experience, and in turn is 100% completely responsible for how we respond to and interact with life. You understand? There's no victims in the Toltec mystery school. There's no such thing as being a victim. There's just simply experience. Life is not seen as personal. Every human born into this world inherits a little piece of the action when you get here. Because I do so much work in the recovery world, I have this conversation a lot of, okay, well, your life, you've had some tragic events happen to you in your life, and if you can hold the possibility that life is not personal, that it's just the roll of the dice. You know, you're born where you're born, you inherit what you inherit, everyone else is on the same level playing field, basically, and life was not out to get you, and what happens, happens. What happens, happens, and that's that. As long as you see it as personal, then you're going to cast yourself in the role of a victim. And if you live life from the perspective of a victim, you've just disempowered yourself, and we tend to disconnect ourselves from the opportunities that we have to reframe our point of view to the realization that what we inherit when we inherit suffering is an inheritance of the human legacy that we then, in an empowered place as a responsible human, we then hold the ability to transform and deal with that suffering, whatever form we inherited, to transform that and let it go. Release it so that it's no longer held in the collective consciousness of the humans. There is a collective human consciousness. It's called planet Earth. It's the human reality on Earth. Well, until the woundedness is inherited and owned and seen as an inheritance of this world and not what we are, because we're not of this world. Jesus said that, I think. We're not of this world. We're born into this experience, but this experience is not what we are. So we inherit the experience, whatever it may be, and we hold the keys to unraveling the nature of how that experience can either be owned and dealt with and learned how to release the energy of that suffering and let it go, which means that we're literally cleaning the collective consciousness as we move through our life. Or we succumb to it, we take it on as personal, then it tends to have the impact that it has on the quality of our life, and then we pass it forward. So there's only two choices here. We either own what we inherit as a reality, we take responsibility for it, we work through it, and we let it go, it's no longer our identity, it was just an aspect of our experience here, or we continue to perpetuate it, we add our own stories to it, and we pass it forward and it's left behind, and it's inherited by the next generation.
One thing I want to be sure to touch upon a little bit is the reality that is Dreaming Heaven, and I'd love to know a little bit of your vision as far as where that's going to go.
I've been fortunate with Dreaming Heaven that I've connected in Los Angeles with a woman named Betsy Chassie, who was executive producer of What the Bleep Do We Know? And so Betsy has the experience of what happened with that film, which was huge. Mm-hmm. And she really liked Dreaming Heaven, and we got together on creating a platform for the film, which will be a very interactive website that's in development, an ebook app, which is in development. There'll also be a print book that's like a workbook journey log, so that people that watch the film, that are inspired by the film, can literally take a journey of their own. We've shot some extra hours of footage explaining and addressing and speaking to the processes that happened during the course of Dreaming Heaven, the film. And so we're really building an interactive platform. And our hope is that because of the response we've had to the film, like the way people have been inspired after they watch the movie, they're like, oh my God, I want to go to Mexico, I want to do more. That we're just giving people what they seem to be asking for. Mm-hmm. And if we can create a platform that works that way, then we will have a structure that you could plug other conscious, spiritual films into. And that's something that's really lacking in the independent film business, is a cohesive platform that can serve as your marketing, networking tool for the sake of getting these films out there and getting people connected to them.
So when you say these films, you mean films of a more evolutionary nature?
Yeah, mm-hmm. Films not unlike What the Bleep or mm-hmm. Dreaming Heaven or I Am, Tom Shadyack's film. There's Ghetto Physics, there's a continuous stream of mind, body, spirit films that are being done independently. And what I realized, being an independent film producer, that you think that once your film is done, you've really accomplished something, and then you realize, okay, well, I've got a film, but what do I do now?
Right.
Because there's no real established marketing network for these independent films. So part of what I'm doing living back in LA now is working with some people who have been in this business for a lot longer than I have, and trying to find a way that we can create a conscious distribution network. Well, and that's been one of our projects with Conscious Nashville, mm-hmm. is bringing some independent films into this community. And as far as I'm concerned, if it's a well done, interesting, powerful film, it's not about Conscious Nashville having an agenda of what we want to promote. It's literally about bringing opportunities to this community, to Nashville, through films for people to be offered different points of view and perspectives. It's about us becoming more expansive, not us building networks of small-mindedness, but mm-hmm. more openness. And so that's one of the cool things with Conscious Nashville, is having a network of people available. We can bring whatever looks like it'd be cool, or there'd be an interest in community-wise.
Right.
So we can feed that.